You freaking guys. You guys. Welcome back to another hypnotic commentary. This one's gonna be fun. But just a couple of quick reminders before we go full send. Number one, there's a no commentary playlist set up if you're new to the channel and you just want some nostalgic gameplay without all of my yakking. I got you. The link to the playlist should be popping up on screen right about meow. And as always, make sure to pop down into the description below. Find your boy on Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. Live streams have been super fun lately, not gonna lie. But that's all I'm gonna say about that stuff. I wanna dive right into the meat and potatoes of what this video is supposed to be. Now, I told you guys, I wanted to make this video all about you. I never imagined that my previous videos would get so many views and comments. And I've spent the last several hours combing through and making sure I've responded to every single one of you. There were literally hundreds, so thank you. And as I speak, YouTube Studio is currently telling me that there are no comments left that I haven't responded to. So mission accomplished. But now I want to dive into highlighting some of the best comments and questions that we got. To be fair, I wish I could include all of them, but the video would be like 7 hours long. But let's start off with the most liked comment of all. How about that? I mean, how could I leave that one out? It comes from Kaizit8458, who says, I really like Soundwave because he is more robotic than the others and he looks very cool. He also has minions, which I like. Thank you, guys. I did ask people to tell me who their favorite Transformer was down in the comments, and you understood the assignment. And judging by the fact that your comment pulled in 72 likes, it seems as though Soundwave is a pretty popular choice. Our next comment comes from Dark Angel 5726, who says, to this very day, I compare games to this game. How satisfying a level is compared to the Grimlock level, how balanced the multiplayer is compared to this game, and how great a linear story can be based off of this game. He goes on to talk about how the customization and diversity of the classes are the cherry on top, but what I really want to highlight is what he says at the end. These games also have videos on YouTube that show people that have never played these games before playing the story a year ago. And they say it blows modern games out of the water. Correct. They do blow modern games out of the water. But why is that? If we really put the microscope on them, what can we find that makes an 11-year-old game so much better than some of the junk being pumped out in 2023? Well, look no further than our third comment, which comes from Arbiter 456B8, who says, so excited for these to return. So many memories and hours on this game. Also, my favorite character is the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, because he isn't just stupid. Shockwave did some dark stuff to him to make him into what he is. And that, folks, is a great example of why these games blow modern games out of the water. The way I see it, these games were some of the last great games that were made to be art. High Moon really dove into the lore and really wanted to give fans something special. They did their homework on the franchise, and when they needed to, they injected their own lore as well. I mean, think about it. Nobody would bat an eye if Grimlock was just dumb old Grimlock as usual, but they gave him a story. They developed his character. If you played the campaign, you felt for Grimlock. You understood him. More importantly, you connected with him. That's what art does. But alas, it wasn't too long after Fall of Cybertron released in 2012 that gaming started taking a turn towards microtransactions and cash grabs. Art isn't the focus anymore. It's just what's the simplest thing that we can pump out to get people to spend another $9.99 on. That's why people want these games back so badly. What they really want is art. Moving on to our next comment, We've got Control Hype Wall coming in with a comment that's going to kick off a topic I feel needs to be discussed. He says, as someone that never experienced the multiplayer for all the Cybertron games, this is something I want to happen. If Activision can keep up the servers for the older COD games, then they can do it for these games. I want this to happen. Absolutely. But this brings up something that's been on my mind since I started doing these commentaries. There's a whole generation of Transformers fans that never got to experience these games. Now, when the games originally launched, the player base was plenty big enough. I never had problems getting into lobbies on any day or at any time. Lobbies were always full. Now imagine if we could recapture the original player base, but add a whole new generation of gamers on top of it. It would be massive, and the more people playing, the more longevity the multiplayer servers would have. This type of comment was a common theme over the past few days. Melody Manic 1007 says, hearing your dramatic reaction was so hilarious, yet I feel the same way. I never got to play either of the games when I was a kid, so this has me super excited. Bion Geek says, I could not be more excited for this. I've been wanting these games for so long, but could never get them. Volps Games 2497 says, I've never played these games, and I remember when I was little trying to watch a 6-hour playthrough of them as I wanted to so bad. Too Much Dog 1234 says, when these games came out, I was too young to be able to figure out how to play multiplayer. I played the campaign at least 5 times. I can't wait to play multiplayer. Another random guy says, I never got to play these Transformers games as a kid, except for Rise of the Darkspark. I only got to watch the long game through videos from So Mungry, who was my childhood favorite for Transformer gaming videos. Now that's a name that brings back memories. Shout out to So Mungry. I myself used to throw on his gameplays and try to learn tips and tricks here and there. I still have a picture I took years ago of a War for Cybertron lobby where my team didn't allow our opponents to get a single kill during the entire match. And you guessed it, Mungry was in there with me. So much love, Mungry. But what's important here is that these comments really highlight just how much bigger the player base would be if these games were revived in 2023. The old player base would certainly come back, and we would be adding a whole new generation of fans on top of it. I love it. Another comment I thought was particularly awesome comes from Hoey Supreme 9770, who says, I love Optimus Prime more than any character in all of fiction. It always goes back to what Peter Cullen was told by his brother, be strong enough to be gentle. The humility in that line is so iconic and always serves as a reminder in the back of my head every day. I know I can never be as great as Optimus, but it's that in itself which makes me draw to him more. I envy someone who has the ability to be that strong, take the high road, make the sacrifice play, and put everyone before himself as a leader and a father figure to his team and family. What an awesome comment. If you haven't heard Peter Cullen tell the story about his audition to be Optimus Prime, I highly recommend you do so. Though I assume most of you listening to me already have. Thanks for the comment, Hoey. That one hit your boy right dead center in the feels. For real. Next, we've got Hexafarius coming in hot with a banger. He says, this is amazing. These games are my favorite all time. I remember playing War for Cybertron Escalation with my brother. I remember when the servers shut down and how sad it made me. So to see that there is hope that these games could come back fills me with so much joy. I love everything about these games, from the gameplay to the story and the soundtrack. I will always be grateful for the joy these games brought me in my childhood. P.S. Fall of Cybertron introduced me to my favorite songs of all time, The Humbling River and Cities of Dust. Hexafarius, I feel ya. Thanks for sharing that story about your brother. And I'm glad you got so much joy out of playing. And I definitely feel you on the music, man. I will never hear that track without seeing Optimus hold Bumblebee's hand on the battlefield in my mind. Angel, Angel, what have I done? Gives me goosebumps every time. And again, we talked about this in the beginning. It's true art. Now, our final comment for this video comes from Slappy7642, who says, Hypnotic, hey, new viewer and I'm loving your content. Question for you, what is your favorite moment from the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games, and are you looking forward to hopefully replaying them? First off, I'm glad you're enjoying the content, Slappy, because I'm certainly enjoying making it. As for my favorite moment, I buckle up, because we're going to go on a little ride here. There is a cutscene in Fall of Cybertron where Megatron is holding Optimus prisoner. He's executing other Autobots right in front of him, and Optimus is seemingly next in line. But we see the silhouette of Metroplex in the windows behind old Megs. And at the moment of truth, Metroplex rips the roof off of Megatron's command center and uses his gargantuan fist to pulverize him into the floor. And then the game does something amazing. All of a sudden, you realize the cinematic is over and you're in control. The on-screen instructions say, click R3. And with every click, Metroplex smashes Megatron's lifeless body further and further and further into the floor. And man, I'm telling you, after watching Megatron get away with stuff for the better part of 30 years, this was finally the moment. You're in control and you end him. I smashed the absolute snot out of that R3 button, and I loved every second of it. Eventually, it evolves back into a cinematic, and we see Soundwave take one last hesitant look before retreating and leaving his commander behind. And it is a crazy powerful moment. And if you haven't experienced it, you really need to. And on that note, folks, I think we're going to wrap this one up. A lot of great stuff, seriously. I had even more comments clipped and saved, but there's only so much time in a video, so maybe we'll just have to do some more of these. Keep the comments coming and let me know if you yourself have special memories that came from playing through these games. But until next time, I get to see your beautiful faces through the power of the interwebs. Do me a favor. Always wash your hands when you want to eat, but always keep them dirty enough to see where you come from. Think about that until I catch you on the next one. Peace.